Hello and welcome to another You Teach Me tutorial. Today we have Oliver Sims at MANLIKEOLLY going across. So, welcome to the show, Ollie.
How you doing? You okay?
It's not a show, it's just a tutorial.
Yep.
But yeah, listen. So, Ollie, fantastic photographer, producer, videographer, also runs his own little business as well, doing photography. Ollie, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, etc., etc.
Well, basically, I do photography, videos. You just explained it. Like, yeah, I do a bit of photography, a bit of video. It's mainly for like digital marketing, and then some model portfolios and stuff like that. So yeah, a wide range of different things. But Photoshop is a massive part of my work. So yeah, I thought I'd show you guys how to edit from RAW. Show you some tips today on that, and then maybe airbrush this photo after we've converted it into a JPEG.
So this is a great photo that you've got here, I must admit. It's really nice. So tell me a bit about this photo. How did you set this up?
Basically there was a light, we had a light, so it was in a tattoo shop in Soho. We had, as you can see, a light, a really bright light at the top, and that was quite close up to the camera, and then we used a 25mm prime lens. I think we put the f-stop to like 2.3.
Sorry, today we're just going to focus on how we're retouching this video.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah. So as you can see, obviously light near a face. Obviously, there's a bit of a depth of field going on as the face is in focus. As it goes out, you can see the background's a little bit out of focus, but it's very busy, so it gives it a good background. But her face is the focal point because of where the light is and stuff. Obviously, you can see here. It's a little bit dark around here, but I don't think we need to really do much with that. I don't want to unbalance the picture. All we're going to do is we're just going to mess around with the colours, try and bring out the colour in our eyes, desaturate it a touch after we've done this editing on the right. So at first, we're going to... So here we've got the temperature.
Yeah.
Basically, as you can see, the more you move it to the right, the more yellow it puts into the picture. The more you move it to the left, the more blue. At the moment, as you can see how we've taken it and the way we white balanced it.
This is raw, right? This is the raw
file. Yeah. No editing done. We're probably going to have to take a little bit of the blue out. I wouldn't say too much.
What are the things that you feel that should be edited initially? So what would you bullet point? Okay, this needs to be done. This needs to be done. This needs to be done.
Not really. It's one of those things like once you learn how to use Photoshop, it's more of a thing where you'll put the photo into the editor and then you'll know what to do with it from there. If you've got an idea previously, then you'll probably know the different parameters you can use in the raw file stuff previously that you're going to do and have an idea what you're going to do and then put them into place. But I'm sure there's always going to be chopping and changing when you're editing a video. So let's start off. So here we've got the temperature. I'm just going to move that bar up a little bit.
You can see a lot of change already, really.
Just a touch. You see we brought out a load of blue there.
Yeah.
So below this we've got the tint. I mean,
is it always to taste, or do you have like increments that you choose? Okay, cool. Is it always to taste?
It's usually to taste.
Yeah.
It's to taste.
No method or anything that you go through.
No, not unless. If it's the thing, because it depends what sort of production we're doing and stuff. I mean, all the ideas for most shoots are done beforehand, so like I said, you'll have an idea of what you're going to do in editing previously.
Okay, yeah.
But it's not something I'll write down. I mean, I know these parameters anyway, so I know what parameters I need to mess with to get what out. And obviously, when I'm going through the picture, it's something I think about, but it's not something I always plan out. Unless maybe I was doing work for somebody else and they was paying me, then it's a bit different. But not paying me, but if it was like a project that wasn't.
Then you try and tailor your style to the client's style.
Yeah, more of that. Yeah, if it was doing, but on this case, it's not. But as you can see, you probably need to take the blue out unless you wanted to leave it in. But we've taken it out, it looks a lot better, a lot cleaner.
Yeah. So is her hair naturally that blue?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we've taken enough blue out. Okay, so what we want to do next is maybe want to also move the tint to the right a touch. And what we'll do, we'll infuse a little bit of purple into it, but as you can see, if you just move it a touch, you don't actually want to see the purple. It just makes everything a little bit more natural as well, because this picture was so blue. Now, if it's the other way around and the picture was too yellow, you might be wanting to go the other way with these two bars.
Yeah.
But I mean, the tint, you don't even have to put that on. I'm saying the temperature is the main thing I use to balance it. The tint is an extra really. We just added a little bit of purple to it. So anyway, the next thing here is the exposure. Now actually, personally, like, I don't think it needs to be unexposed, because I mean, together here, like, I wanted the dark brown to be black, sorry, so not black, but a bit darker, and the front bit to be white. So what we're going to do, probably won't touch the exposure too much, but I'm just going to show you how much you only need to touch it a little bit. I'm just going to show you how much it is actually affected. See? No, actually, that looks quite cool.
It does bring it out quite nicely, I believe, but probably not so much.
Then you can have the other one. You don't, but then you're going to overexpose it. But sometimes you have an underexposed pic.
Because, okay, yeah.
So you can really play with that if you want. And then
because if you look on her cheekbone above her right eye, where we had it normally, it's quite bright there. Do you think, what would you do in that situation?
I'll show you. So I'll put that back down to 0. So I don't know if we want to brighten this up here or darken this here. But I'd say probably brighten this up a little bit. So what you want to do is you then click on the brush tool.
Okay.
And you see you've got a bit of a brush here.
Yeah.
So once you click this tool, when you edit this will only edit this tool. It won't edit the rest of the picture because you have selected that tool. Now using one of these two icons, what are they called?
Colons. No,
colons.
Brackets.
Brackets, but square brackets.
Yeah, square brackets.
Use left.
We can put the.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring the exposure up. So it's already done it for me on here a little bit. It says +50. So I don't know if that's probably done that automatically a bit. So let's see what happens. So if you then +50 this bit here.
Okay.
Then we should be able to balance out the picture a bit.
Okay.
And let's see another thing you can do right now.
That's quite nice, yeah.
I could put that exposure down and you see like, but we want to keep that at +50. So that's done.
Interesting.
Sorry, let me put that. So yeah, you've managed to balance that out. And there's all sorts of different things you could do with that really. So we want to go back to the hand tool and have the rest of it. But I mean, you can click the brush tool again and it shouldn't re-edit any other bits you've done already with the brush once you reselect it. So then you might want to make the background darker. So you bring the exposure right down and then you could just like paint around the background. You see what I mean? Like there's so much different stuff you could do. I'm probably going to Control Z this actually. But I mean, if you've got time and stuff, you can really intricately edit each piece of this picture, bring out detail and stuff.
So what about the background? Can you bring out the colours in the background, make them pop? I know you wanted to separate, but is there anything of clarity that you can bring in the background as well?
Clarity, yeah, of course. Look here, we've got here. So you see, when we click on the brush tool, we get some more options here as well. Like the feather, these are the brush options at the bottom. We've got sharpness, noise reduction, defringe, like so many different options with the brush tool. But I think, again, you know, that might be for a different tutorial. We won't want to just go through the main stuff about editing a flat picture.
Cool.
But you can do that. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, on the contrast, this parameter, there's a second parameter under exposure. Anyway, contrast, it really just brings out, well, the contrast really. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's not really any more describing.
What does contrast mean?
Well, you have to see. But you have to see. Well, contrast.
Well, you're about to show me. Yeah.
See?
But what have you put contrast on? Because that's not the same. What have you done? Put contrast in the background?
No, the contrast is the whole picture. But you can see, if you take out the contrast of the whole picture, you see there's no contrast. Literally,
it looks interesting though.
It's flat. It's flattened it. It's taken the colours.
Everything out, really.
Yeah, contrast, you put it up, it makes the colours start to pop a bit. But you don't want to do it too much. You just want to do it like there. That's a good contrast there. That's balanced. You don't want it like, see?
Yeah.
That's over contrasted, so you want it around there. And it also gives it like a chalky look the more you contrast it. And then the more you decontrast it, it gives it like a more flat look. So
do you like this harsh light? Do you want that there?
That's what I want to do.
Okay, cool.
Now if you take that out, I think it ruins the picture. So then you got highlights. You can bring them up a bit. Again, I don't think there's really need to in this picture because it's so bright at the front. Highlights just going to bring more colours out, especially the lighter colours, so probably leave that. Here you got shadows, and obviously that brings the brightness of the shadows up and down, or brings basically not brightness but the shadows out, like brings them out or brings them in. So like if you bring them left, the shadows grow. See what I mean?
That looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, there's a lot of people do it.
A lot of definition. Yeah, a lot of people do it. Yeah.
But also, on the flip side, if you wanted to brighten up your whole picture, you could bring the shadows out. And it will kind of, if there's a shadow under the eye and you bring the shadows up a bit, that will decrease. You know what I mean? That might, if you want to
decrease, but will it increase the shadow in
No.
So if you no, I mean...
It increases the shadow if you go left. If you go minus, you increase it. If you go plus, you decrease it.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I don't think we need to maybe drop the shadows a little bit just to give it a little bit of depth. There you go. So this is these two whites and blacks, the obvious one. The more whiter colours, if you move this to the right, it brings them out. The more the black colours, you move that to the right, it brings them out. Just maybe bring them out a little bit, but we don't. Again, it's really bright at the front, so I don't want to. Just a little bit, just brought out a bit of the white, just give it a bit of extra depth. The good thing about this raw editing is it doesn't really grain your picture or anything too much. Like if you're editing in JPEG from the beginning, you start adding a lot of grain to that picture, which you're then going to have to sharpen up. And then all of a sudden you don't have a proper picture anymore.
So it's always in RAW.
Yeah, because RAW is a 20 megabyte file, so there's so many different more aspects of it. But so much more information to be edited. So here we got clarity. Now this is a really cool tool. I use it quite a lot. I'm just going to show you what declaritizing does.
That's interesting.
So it really takes everything out. And then if you bring the clarity right up, you see that's... And a lot of people make pictures like this.
Yeah, it is quite interesting.
It is interesting, but for me, for like, if you're looking for the perfect figures, what we're going to do on here is we're going to make it look as much as you would want it to look.
I see how people rinse it though.
Yeah, people do Zaki, but I think that does look cool, especially that sort of pick actually is perfect.
It looks good, but...
It looks almost like a Joker's kind of thing. And Sky Sports, all the players, I don't know if you notice the pictures of the players, the clarity and contrast is brought up so much.
Is it?
Well, yeah, if you look, you can see like...
I guess because it gives you definition, right?
It does, but also it makes it look more detailed.
Yeah, because you can see strands of hair now.
Yeah.
If we like now you're disappearing, you can't see the strands of hair per se.
Yeah, but you don't want to see that, to be honest with you, on a proper picture. But it can be something you do, but we're not going to do it for this one.
Okay.
Vibrance, again, it kind of brings the colour out. So vibrance kind of brings the colour up, see? That really brings out every colour.
Which is again an interesting... Can you do me a favour? Can you bring up the contrast, the clarity and the vibrance?
That if you bring down the vibrance, that you can still see a little bit of blue there, a little bit of red.
Yeah, it's still exactly. It's still very nice.
Bring down the clarity, vibrance.
Sorry, bring the clarity right up and the vibrance right up. And the vibrance right up. I just want to see.
So look how cool that. That's like Sin City style. You see that?
Yeah. That is actually really nice. Yes, interesting. Kind of. That's a bit. Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's proper Suicide Squad. So, but I think for the sake of this, we're going to bring that up there. It's given me loads of ideas now, actually, what we'll do for the next one. But for this video, we're not going to show them what we're going to do with it. We're just going to show them how to make it look. Not over-edit it, basically, is what we don't want to do that in this video. So yeah, cool. And then we've got the saturation, which brings the colours down or up as well. Like, see the saturation, you can make it all the way to black and white if you bring saturation all the way left. So there's absolutely no colour. To the right, brings all the colours right out. See? But again, for this one,
of these would you use often most, or would you?
I mean, I would like. It's good to use all the. I mean, if you've got a good enough pick, you shouldn't have to use many of them. You might just play the exposure and the temperature a little bit. I mean, in this case, I mean, we've used all of them, but only a touch. You know, shadows we brought down a bit to give it some more depth, so we touched that up a bit, but. All of these parameters at the front of RAW are pretty important for editing pics. Okay. So I wouldn't count any of them out. So okay, now you've got your image here. There's some other sharpening tools and stuff here, but we don't need it for this pic, so I'm not going to go into it. It's more advanced, really.
So what you're doing now, you're moving it from camera RAW to JPEG?
Exactly, yeah.
Right, okay.
So it's going to put it into your normal, what you're used to seeing in Photoshop when you open up a thing with the layers.
Have you lost quality now?
No.
Okay.
No, because you're always going to have to put your picture back into JPEG.
To transfer and
yeah, exactly. Course, yeah. So, and I mean, no, that wouldn't have lost quality. That would be quite a high quality JPEG.
Okay, so it's not like an average JPEG that you get.
It will still be a higher quality JPEG than the one that will be next to your RAW file when you originally took it. Okay. So anyway, here we go. We're waiting for this non-responsive application.
Sorry about this, guys.
No, I'm only technology and that.
Sometimes, you know, can't get the RAM. Can't get the RAM these days.
So what we're going to do one more thing here while I'm here, Antonio. This is the last thing that I would personally do, especially if you've got a model or person on the pic, but especially a model close up on the face. You want to give it a little bit of contouring. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to show those guys how to. I'm going to show you guys how to airbrush it.
Okay, brilliant.
So this is a simple form of airbrushing. There is a lot more. You can get more complicated, and you can do so much more to a picture than just this. But this is for beginners out there. So So the first thing you do. Sorry, let me Command Z that. So you go up to your layer. You right click it and press duplicate layer. So you duplicate the layer there. Let me just show you that again. So you right click it, duplicate layer. Okay, you could call it something else apart from background copy. Maybe you want to call it airbrush or something like that. That's probably what I should have done. Okay, so next thing you want to do is go to make sure that new layer's selected. Mm-hmm. And then you go up to filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And then let's move that, so I'm going to see a bit more of that. And then you want to blur it, but not too much. I think it's just catching up with itself, by the way. So you don't want to over blur it like that.
Okay.
But obviously we're waiting for the computer to catch up with itself here, so I'm going to put it at like 20 and see how it goes out. There you go, okay, that'll do.
But is that on?
Wait. So then what you do, you got down here. You see you've got your background copy. So that copy down there doesn't have a blur. This one does at the top. You do give that a layer mask by clicking this icon at the bottom, the layer mask icon.
Okay.
And then what you do, you want to invert that mask. So then you press Command or Control. Control on Windows, Command on a Mac. Command I. So now you can see that
inverted that now, yeah.
Inverted that
layer.
That layer. Now with that selected with a layer mask, you can now use the brush tool to brush that blur that we originally had on. If this ever comes up. I want to zoom in a bit when you're doing contouring. So we're just going to do the face. Obviously you can see when you zoom in, there's like here you've got a couple of blemishes really, but we're just gonna we're just gonna contour the whole face, and we're gonna make it look good.
Click on the.
There you go. Okay, cool. So we've got the brush tool here.
What was I going to say? So yeah, can you tell us again how we would do that in step? How to do the airbrushing?
So you click the background layer.
Show us on the computer.
Click the background layer here, and you duplicate it. Call it a name, probably airbrushing, and then you have this top layer here. Then you go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and you set it at about 15 to 20. But you have to play with that depending on the picture. And then when you click on the top layer here, which you've just put the Gaussian blur on, you click layer mask, and then you press Command I to invert it.
Brilliant. Okay, cool. And then you just obviously go over the blemishes or whatever you want. Really smoothly, right?
Yeah.
Okay, nice one.
Yeah. This is on.
So this is ready to go, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's basically finished. I would have just put my logo on at the end.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has an extra layer here, but apart from that, yeah, it's ready to go. And I'll probably save that and give it to the model. I'll put it where it needs to be.
Brilliant. It looks really, really, really good. I really like it. Like I said, I really like the character in it. I really like the depth in it. And the definition as well in her face as well. And the character within the photo itself is a really nice photo. I really, really like it. I can imagine it being in a tattoo parlour in Soho. I can imagine that. So again, Ollie is one of the teachers here. He teaches photography and Photoshop, and also does videography as well, which is also teaching Premiere Pro. So if you want to get any lessons with Ollie, go through to the letter U, teach, teachmi.com. That's youteachme.com, and you'll be able to book some time with Ollie whenever you want. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you, Ollie.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.